session. Okay? Need a motion required to adopt the minutes of the September 7th meeting?
So moved.
Seconder? Okay. Adopt the agenda of the October 4th meeting. Need a mover and a seconder?
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, would 9.1, the chief will speak on the internal monthly report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The report you have before you shows that there was 3 complaints made that came through the auspices of the New Brunswick Police Commission. 1 item of complimentary correspondence, and during the month of September, no grievances were received from the Police Association.
Receive and file.
Second.
Thank you. Items number 9.2 and 9.3. Marvin Koskadden will speak on these 2 reports. Receive and file. Go ahead, Marvin.
First report is the overtime and court time expense for August 2016. You'll see in the report for August, this is the actual expense for overtime. We were $43,000 over budget for the month, and we're just under $200,000 over budget actual expense year to date. On court time, for the month of August, we're $6,600 over budget, and year to date, we're about $41,000 over budget for court time. And again, when we get to the utilization report, I'll give you a better breakdown of what hours were actually used in 2016, because the expense does include some payments for overtime that would have been earned previous to this month. So it does distort the utilization of our overtime for 2016. Unless there's any questions, I would ask this be proceed and file.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. We're over budget on those items. Are we compensating for that elsewhere, that we're on budget overall?
Yes.
Okay.
And then later there is an actual August financial report that will speak to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Those are accrued but not necessarily taken, right?
Excuse me.
As discussed before, those are accrued numbers, or
That is correct. Yes. Yes.
but not necessarily that will fall out or happen.
I'm not quite sure.
I retract the question.
Okay. Okay, we need no more questions. On that, I need a motion to have
So
it
moved.
received and filed.
Second.
Thank you. 9.5. This item was put on the agenda.
Madam
Oh,
Chair,
sorry.
9 point, I think Marvin still wanted to speak to 9.3.
9.3, the utilization report.
Keep going.
Okay. This particular report will show the board members the number of hours that we budget annually for overtime, and we'll explain to where those hours are utilized up to the end of August. For the month of August, the budget overtime hours was 670. And you'll see our actual usage was 856, so we're 186 hours over budget. Year to date, you'll see that we're just over 2,200 hours over budget for overtime. And on page 2 of the report, we always indicate to the board the number of hours that are used to backfill 12-hour shifts. In the month of August, there was 31 shifts that we had to backfill with overtime. And year to date, there was 365 shifts for a total of 4,377. So if you take that into consideration, which backfilling is on the patrol side, if you go back to the first table for patrol services, our actual overtime hours are 5,860, and you'll see that roughly 1,500 hours was roughly was used just for regular overtime on the patrol division, which is not a big number at all over 8 months. What's important, this report is important only because it pulls out the bulk of where our overtime is used currently now, which is the backhoe.
Thank you very much. Receive and file, we need a motion.
Motion to receive and file.
Seconded.
Thank you. Item 9.4, this is an item that Mr. Chris Gadden put on regarding St. John Police Force 2016, August 2016 financial report. Mr. Chris Gadden?
Thank you. For the month of August, year-to-date, first of all, we're in really good shape going into the last part of the year. There are a couple things I want to highlight for the board with respect to us being under budget, I should say, about $670,000. What I try to do here is give you sort of 6 key areas that drives any variance that we have in our budget. Up to the end of August, our revenue was higher than we projected by $93,000. Salary and wages were under budget by $555,000. But I should point out to the board, the wage settlement for St. John Police Association has not been negotiated for 2016. That's why you're seeing a favorable variance here, because there has been no adjustment made for this year. Overtime costs exceeded budget by about $256,000. Court time is over budget by $41,000. Obviously, because our wages are under budget, our fringe benefits would be under as well by $155,000. And at the end of August, our goods and services were under budget by $163,000. If you go into the body of the report, it sort of explains sort of what I already talked about, the salaries and wages. Is the big unknown for us right now is this wage settlement for 2016. Obviously, we think our plan is to cover that, whatever that may be. And overall, I know the intent of the management group is to have a balanced budget at the end of the year, and that's what we're focusing on, even with this unknown. And what we try to do when that does become known to us is we'll look at other areas that we can save, which most times is goods and services. We try to cut back on goods and services just to try to create that reserve, if I can use that term, to offset any settlement at the end of this year, if that's known. Aside from that, there's a variance report that gives you greater detail on each of the different categories. And Madam Chair, unless there's any specific questions, the intent would be to receive this and obviously send a copy to common council as per our normal practice.
Thank you. Okay, we need a motion is required, and also we'll be forwarding a copy to the Common Council as required under Section 7 of the New Brunswick Police Act.
Move it.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Item 9.5. This is an item that Mr. Chris Gadden put on regarding the August PSCC August 2016 financial report. Mr. Chris Gadden?
This is a separate report that's specific to the budget that is in place for the Public Safety Communications Center. And at the end of August, they were under budget by $163,000. One of the items I should highlight is it shows that we've exceeded revenue sources by $68,000. That's more of a timing issue from when we bill our customers versus the month of August, so that should make its way out. I would suggest to you that our revenue will be on target at the end of the year, so that by itself is more of a timing difference rather than a surplus, I should say. You're going to see the salaries and wages, we're under budget by $130,000. Conversely, we're over on our overtime by almost the same amount, and that's because we have vacancies in place with our operators, but we are using current staff and casuals to backfill and shift until we get a full complement in place. And I just want to let the board know, as of today, we're about halfway through the recruitment process for another group of operators.
Okay.
And that continues to be a challenge for us because unlike any other profession that's out there, we can't go out in the street and bring in trained operators. We have to train them, and that by itself is a challenge for us. But we're confident from talking with the operations manager and the service delivery manager. They've identified a good group this time. We've done personal interviews, and we're very confident that we're going to get more operators working in the center as soon as possible.
Great, with any questions? Okay, so,
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
okay, so we need a motion to,
Mike wouldn't do so well.
are there any questions to close? Open session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.